Good morning, crypto peoples and my Slack friends. We are live this morning on SuperNET Radio. I have not slept in over 24 hours. But that's because we have a really good interview this morning. We have a guy with the coolest name. I mean, I thought my name was cool, but this guy's name is cool. Flavion. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah, that's about right. Like Flavian, usually it's said.
That's good. It's good. You got a lot of chicks with that name, didn't you?
Yeah, that's my trick. Yeah.
Flavor, come on, Flavion.
Yeah.
Flavor Flav.
Yeah. So it's a French name, yeah, because I come from France. However, I live in Ireland.
Well, Flavor Flav is a big rapper down here in New York.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
So this morning we have Flavion Charlon. He's a CEO and creator, right, of CoinPrism?
Yes, and and also author of Open Assets.
Oh, yes, that's I've been doing my research. That is the staple that everyone is using now to assetize their coins, right?
Yeah, there's a number of companies now using it for different things.
Uh-huh. I heard about it. Give me 1 second. Let's get some feedback from our Slack peoples. And this is how we communicate through Slack. If you like, I could give you an invite.
Yeah, why not?
And we'll get you in here with the rest of the geniuses. Really, we have a lot of smart people in here. I mean, I don't hang around here for no reason, you know. Us smart people need to stick together. Give me 1 second. Normally I have my technician, but since it's so early in the morning, he's sleeping right now.
Mm-hmm.
His name's DJ Prince. He's the guy that keeps the radio running.
Oh, I see.
So also our radio station is we put when we're not doing interviews and shows, we do like custom music, like indie music, people who aren't signed yet.
Oh, okay.
So it gives them a chance to get out there, and it also allows us not to get sued for playing copyrighted music.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest.
Yeah.
I hear about all these stories about all these places getting hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty crazy out there. All right, so tell us about CoinPrism.
Yeah. So basically, I discovered I kind of got into cryptocurrency in 2013. I started to work on a prediction market at the time, which was called Predictious, and it was one of the first prediction market that was using Bitcoin. And so basically, the way it was working is that so it's still running, but I'm not focusing full time on that anymore. But the way it works is that you have different events,
Mm-hmm.
and then with different outcomes, and then you kind of put a price on which outcome you think is going to happen, and then depending on the what different people will do on the market, then a price will emerge, and then that price will reflect the likelihood of the outcome to happen. And so this is used like
it's like trade bots.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like so you can check it out. It's predictious.com, and
Predictious.
yeah, so we have
.com.
So there's like predictions about like political events like elections. Who's going to be the next U.S. president in 2016. entertainment, like box office numbers, stuff like that. Science, like discovery, like who's going to discover the cure for such or such disease, or when is it going to be discovered. So a lot of different things like that. And Bitcoin was a great way to integrate, like to integrate with that kind of platform.
Wow.
And so that's how I got into Bitcoin originally. But then I started to research a lot of the different projects around Bitcoin in 2013. And at one point, I got interested into the concept of colored coins. So the colored coins, for those who probably not many people have heard of that before, but basically the idea is that you take a small fraction of a Bitcoin, so it represents a small nominal value, but you add some information on top of that fraction of Bitcoin to indicate that this represents a specific asset. And so that specific asset can be anything that exists in the real world. So it can be like commodities, like gold, silver, oil.
Right.
It can be securities, like stocks, bonds, or even gift cards, loyalty points, and it can even be like a
Tokens.
physical property. Yeah, any kind of token. It can even be a property, like even a house or a deed to a house.
I'm very big in the silver world. I love
Yeah.
silver. Like I literally I sleep on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a very similar asset as Bitcoin, I would say, because of the fact that it's the supply is not controlled by a government or a company.
Right, exactly. And I believe the price is being suppressed.
Yeah, that's what some people say. Yeah.
So predictions.com, is it?
Predictious, so
Predictious.
with a U instead of the N.
That's really cool, man. I've been researching this all morning, and I didn't come across that.
Yeah. So colored coin. So I kind of got into colored coin, and so at the time there was not really a functional wallet that existed, or like a functional implementation of it. So that's when I realized that there was a good opportunity for building a web wallet for colored coins. And at the same time, I kind of designed a protocol around it, or like a protocol that it's kind of like a way to, like, the definition of how to represent the assets on the blockchain.
Right.
This is open assets, so this is called open assets. And so this is a simple specification that defines how you create an asset, how you transfer an asset on the blockchain, and so on.
So colored coins and assets, they're very similar.
Yeah, so colored coins is like a method for representing assets on the Bitcoin blockchain. It's a generic term. It's not one specific technology. It's more like a group of technologies, I would say, or like a family.
Right.
And open assets is one member of that family. There's other implementations.
So just to simplify this for the crowd, so there's let's say there's a cajillion bitcoins, right? A million bitcoins in all, right? You would get maybe 1,000 if you wanted. You would choose 1,000 bitcoins, and you would color them, and then by coloring them, you would not only have the value of BTC because it's on BTC blockchain, you would also have the extra value you personally add to it with whatever you're using it for, correct?
Yes, that's exactly that. So there is a specificity about open assets, which is that when you want to create an asset, you don't need an amount of satoshis that's proportional to the number of units of the asset you want to create. So to explain it with an example, if you want to create 10 units of a new token, or if you want to create 10 million units of a new token, then in both cases you only need a very small fraction of Bitcoin. You don't need, and the amount is basically the minimum amount that can be transacted on the blockchain. So you don't need necessarily a lot of Bitcoins to do that. You just need enough to make a transaction.
I see.
So that makes it more efficient if you need to have, let's say, billions of tokens in existence.
Right.
You don't need.
But each one would be worth a lot less in Bitcoin.
Yeah, exactly. But
Right.
it's basically more efficient. I mean, it's because you want the value to be predominantly based on the actual asset instead of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just used as it's a bit like a dollar bill.
Right.
The paper itself probably has a value just because it's paper. You can write on it, but it's very small compared to the $1 that it represents.
So if I had uh, say 50 SuperNet Radio silver coins, right?
Yeah.
And each coin is worth $20 in the real world. I would only need what is that? 0.05 Bitcoin worth times 50.
I mean, when you issue, it's a fixed number that you need. You only need 600 satoshis, no matter the amount that you're issuing. So that's a constant number, because 600 satoshis is the minimum number that can be used in a transaction to just basically to avoid spam. Because it could be 1 satoshi, but they increased it to 500 satoshi to avoid spam.
Oh wow!
So
very cool. All right, so that's I know you're the originator of color coins, right?
I mean, to be fair, I mean, some people have been discussing colored coins before me. I mean, there has been a blog post before, I worked on it, but OpenAsset was kind of the first, real world implementation of colored coins.
Right.
So I didn't invent the concept, but I was kind of the first. CoinPrism was the first company to actually make it real.
Make it open and accessible.
Yeah.
So if there were people making it, they were hiding it and had other plans.
Yeah, potentially. Yeah.
So I also heard there's an auction type. There's a method of crowdfunding, right?
Oh yeah. So crowdfunding is one of the use cases for colored coins, and so the way it works is that you create. So okay, let me give you actually an example of a company who run a crowd sale at the time soon after we launched.
Cool.
So it was a hair salon based in Australia, and they wanted to open a new store. I think it was in Sydney, and they wanted to fund the cost of that new store using crowdfunding.
Right.
And so what they did is they created some colored coins that's representing a share of the potential revenue of that store, and they sold it for some price. And so people who wanted to invest in the store, they just bought that colored coin, and then after some time, a share of the revenue generated by the store is being sent back to the people who own that colored coin.
So like dividends.
Yeah. So I mean, from a legal standpoint, I don't think it was dividends in that case, because
Right.
it was not a share. It was not like an equity. It was more like a debt, because equity is very regulated. But yeah, it's at a high level, it's similar to dividends.
We have to rename everything in this world.
Yes. Yeah, we have to be careful with how things are named.
Crypto dens.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
so there is an NXT is kind of similar because there is I believe it's called BG Cafe that's doing something exactly like that.
Mhm.
It's a brick and mortar coffee shop that has there's many of them, and they want to open up more, and they're doing crowdfunding through NXT to do that. So it's kind of similar, but I did see that there is this thing that really makes you diverse. It makes CoinPrism unique, as you can authenticate the actual person. Where in NXT people can copy, and it's been done, and I've been a victim of it myself, where they make ones that look similar to the real one.
Yeah.
And then people think it's real, and they buy it, and it ends up not being the real asset. You have a method of actually authenticating the real company, and it's a real world method, because I personally build sites, and certificates are not cheap.
Yeah.
For big companies.
Yes, and so basically it's called proof of authenticity, and So the model in open assets is that you can create a new asset as easily as you can create an address. So it doesn't cost anything. Bitcoin doesn't cost anything, and it's just like a mathematical operation of generating public-private key pair. So you can do it millions of times.
Right.
Um, so anybody can create assets as many as they want. Those assets don't have a name or anything. Initially, they're only represented by a string of characters, much like a Bitcoin address.
Right.
But then on top of that, if there's definitely a need for being able to associate that specific asset to a specific person or company. And so proof of authenticity does this. And the way it does it is by linking the asset to a domain name. And then so that domain name has to be HTTPS because otherwise it can be spoofed. You can do a man-in-the-middle attack. And by linking it to a domain name and HTTPS, then you can probably create a connection between that asset, and the wallets are now able to display the domain name of the person who issued the asset. So you can have your asset linked to your domain name,
And
and
and you know this by this green check mark.
yes,
Correct?
exactly. On CoinPrism, we have a green check mark when the authenticity has been verified. So for a lot of people don't they're just trying, they're just like trying different possibilities of open assets. They don't do something like they don't do like a real life application of it. They just want to try it. And
Experiment.
so in that case they don't go with they don't do the full validation. So in that case you get a yellow exclamation mark.
Right.
But if you're a real company and you want to build a business using your digital asset, then you are going to verify your asset with your website, and then you have the green check mark with the domain name. And the green check mark actually is very similar to the green bar that you can see in your browser when you visit some website that are under HTTPS. So if you go to Facebook, for example, there's going to be a padlock on the address bar,
Right.
which means that you're dealing with the website that's called www.facebook.com, and if you click on the details there, it will actually tell you that the company behind it is Facebook Inc., based in the US and so on.
Right, because they've actually signed up with a real certificate authority, like VeriSign,
Yeah.
right? So, and that's a really that's a process to do. You have to prove to them who you are. They want to see your business license and such in order to get that license, that certificate authority to put into your website. And these certificate authorities, they're it's just like a page of code of numbers and letters, kind of like your NXT password. But it's like a page full, and you copy it and you paste it in a section in your website, and it authenticates back and forth with the certificate authority with VeriSign, right? And then you get that proof that when people go to your website that you're the real deal. How about if it's a self-signed cert?
So if it's a self-signed cert, it's not going to work because it hasn't been authenticated. So anybody can create a self-signed cert. I can create a self-signed
Right.
cert for Facebook.com if I want. So going back to what you were saying, there's actually like multiple levels of validation.
Right.
So if you're a big company, you're gonna want to get the more expensive one, where they verify your business license and they make sure that you're the company that you're claiming to be. And so in that case, the name of your company is going to be embedded in the certificate.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like cheaper certificates where they only validate that you own the specific domain name, and you can get
Right.
those for free actually in some with some providers.
Right. But all in all, you would want to go for the bigger one because you do want to prove that you're the real deal. And for
Yeah,
people, for people who think that this is centralized, you're gonna get that, right? A lot of people are gonna say, "Oh, it's
yeah.
centralized," but the fact is, it's all centralized, right? I mean, it's
Uh,
the fact that I buy, say, I buy a particular asset on NXT blockchain, that still comes from one person, right? So that's
Yeah,
centralized.
yeah. The asset comes from an issuer, and that issuer is a centralized entity, so it doesn't really increase centralization. But yeah, I mean, so that gives the end user now is sure that when he gets a token, he knows that this token is coming from this website or this company. So it's definitely it's a more trustworthy platform for the end user.
I'm really that's amazing. You're a genius, man. I,
Thanks.
it was such a simple solution. I mean, and who would think of it? And I didn't think of it. And I deal with certificates all the time.
Yeah.
That's really a great idea. Uh, I did read somewhere that that is the missing proponent, right? Everything's decentralized on the blockchain, but there's gonna be there's that small part that needs real people
Yeah.
to authenticate.
Yeah, when you want to bridge the gap between like the blockchain and an organization that exists in the real world, then there has to be some kind of connection somehow, and this is what this solves.
That's fantastic. Anything new coming out with CoinPrism?
So yeah, I mean, in terms of the companies using open assets, there's recently so some of you probably have heard, Nasdaq is going to use open assets for their private market platform.
Oh wow!
So it's not the main stock exchange. Obviously, it's like a smaller version of that where they trade private companies. They
Right.
have like something like 60 companies trading there, and then so they're going to use open assets for settlement and clearing of the trades. So they're going to put that on the blockchain, and they're going to use open assets for that.
Oh
Um,
wow! I didn't even hear that. That's great. That sounds like a scoop.
yeah, it's been announced like a couple of weeks ago, I think. And then otherwise, there's also Gift, which is a gift card.
Oh yeah, I like them.
Yeah, they were very supportive of Bitcoin from the start.
Yep.
And then last year they've been acquired by First Data Corporation, which is a company that runs a lot of the I think over 50% of the credit card payments. So they run the infrastructure. So they're basically a supplier, in a way, suppliers of Visa and Mastercard.
Oh wow!
And so they acquired Gift, and then so now Gift is also looking at using blockchain technology for gift cards, and right now they're using open assets to achieve this.
Oh wow! Yeah, I know. I could get Amazon and eBay gift cards from there with my crypto,
Yeah,
with my
yeah,
Bitcoin.
absolutely.
And basically between Amazon and eBay, what else do you need? I mean, you
Yeah,
can get
it's
everything from Amazon.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can live off of Amazon.
Now they
And
have food,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Delivered by drones maybe soon.
If I see a drone at my door, I'm gonna shoot it.
Yeah.
Well, it's pretty amazing. Also, there's a good. I believe there's another reason why these companies are looking into this, is because there's been so many security issues lately. People's credit cards and their information getting hacked. I mean, I hear it every day here. Uh, with many companies, it was Home Depot, and then it was one of the credit cards where they hacked hundreds of people's information. And
Yeah, Target got hacked last year, I think. There was a massive hack. The like millions of credit cards have been leaked.
yeah, I mean, and the problem is all these, they're all stored in this one place. It's really easy to get to.
Yeah.
I mean,
And also, the problem with the credit cards is the fact that the secure information, the private information, is the card number, but it's also a public information because you share it with someone when you want to purchase something. So you have to give them your number. So there is this problem that the public and the private thing is the same number, whereas in the blockchain and in general it was cryptocurrencies. In cryptography, you have the concept of public and private key. So you have your private key, which you never share. And
Right.
then when you want to make a transaction, you give your public key, and then that's how it works. And so this is secure because as long as you don't lose or somehow get hacked and lose your private key, then nobody has access, nobody can sign on your behalf.
And they could always archive people's information who don't utilize their accounts much on offline wallets, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the offline wallet is like a way to secure even further
You know,
that kind of system.
I think what was it, Trezor? I think.
Yeah, yeah. Trezor, they offer offline storage of the private key. So actually, it's compatible. This is something we've added this year. It's compatible with CoinPrism now. So on CoinPrism, you can actually create an address that's stored on the Trezor, and
Mhm.
so after then you can receive payments in assets, like in colored coins. You can receive like maybe a gift cards on your address directly that directly goes to your Trezor device. And so the only way for someone to steal your gift cards at this point is for them to steal your Trezor device and get your PIN code and so on, which is, pretty much harder to do.
Yeah, almost impossible.
Yeah.
Uh, that's really. I saw the device. It's really cool looking. You guys got to check it out. It's like looks like a little metal. Uh, you know the alarm for your car, with the buttons. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
little pad with buttons, and it's all
And
metal.
yeah, and it has a screen as well.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I saw it. I was like, I need one of those.
Yeah.
So what's it like over there in Ireland?
Oh, Ireland is nice. Yeah, there's a quite a big tech community in Ireland. There's because there's a lot of American tech companies, setting up in Ireland for tax reasons initially, but then it's also a country where people speak English, so it's convenient, and it's also, I think, one of the closest place to fly to from the US in Europe, and so this is why there's a lot of tech companies here, and so those tech companies attract a lot of tech people from all over Europe. So it's definitely a vibrant.
What what what's the tax situation like down there?
The tax situation for corporate tax is I think is very low, and yeah, people not people but like corporations utilize this to pay very low taxes in Europe. So I mean the corporate tax is 12% in here, but like those big corporations, they do like some kind of like complicated setups, and then they can end up paying in less than like 2%.
Do they take income tax out of your paychecks down there?
Income tax, yeah, income tax is quite high on the other hand, so I guess they have to fund the government in some way, so the individuals end up
Um,
paying for that,
Unbelievable.
unfortunately.
Can't get away from it.
Yeah.
So you hear? Did you hear about what's going? You know what's going on in Greece, right?
Yeah. It's I've seen that there's like people queuing at the ATMs at the moment to get their euros.
You think you think there would be like a use case for CoinPrism down there?
It's possible. I mean, it's I mean if yeah, there would be it's like one of the best use case for colored coins. I think is like in for like digital tokens in general, not only colored coins.
Right.
It is representing currencies on the blockchain. So if you have like a digital token that's represented that's representing like a currency like the euro, then you can purchase that using Bitcoin directly, and you never leave the blockchain. But yeah, I mean,
How about blockchain bloat? Is that an issue?
it's a good question. Yeah, so uh, Open Assets uses so there is a field in every transaction in Bitcoin where you can store up to 40 bytes at the moment. And Open Assets uses that to store information in the transaction about about the assets being transacted. But so in every transaction though, we only use maybe 20, 30 bytes depending on the transaction. So it's quite low, and recently I've been counting like how much space has been used, and it's just like a few kilobytes have been used because of that by open assets. So in the end, it's not that much of a problem. But some people, some people which are kind of extreme about principles, they don't like the fact that you store anything that doesn't have to do with Bitcoin itself in the blockchain. But as with everything in Bitcoin, there's a lot of disagreement between different groups of people.
Right. There's the theory that over time it's going to be extremely heavy and not usable anymore.
Yeah. So, but I think 40 bytes. I mean, as long as people pay for those 40 bytes in transaction fees, I don't think that should be much of a problem. I mean, they could even be more expensive than the rest if it's something we want to disincentivize. But I don't think. I mean, I don't think it's much of a problem.
You know, here in SuperNet, we have James JL777,
Mhm.
and he has solutions for this type of stuff. Uh, they've created something called RAM chains, and it's so fast that they have to slow it down.
Okay.
He's you, if you like, I would love to invite you into our Slack. You could talk to us.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
I'd love to learn more about this.
Yeah, I mean this whole community here in our Slack, they're all, I mean, 40% of them are developers, maybe 30%. I might be exaggerating. 30% are
Yeah.
developers, and there's API channels you could jump in and you could watch them work live. And this is why I personally got into SuperNet, is because I like to see real work being done.
Yeah.
And this is a place where I could actually watch the developers work, and if somebody needs like HTML talent, I could assist.
Yeah.
Or and any server building, or anything I personally could do for them, I could assist. And it's kind of nice because everybody feels that way. We have tons of people say, "Oh, I could do that." I know Node.js. I know PHP. And you got different people out there like Frohike and Crypto Sleuth, and they all have their names, their secret
Yeah.
names, but they all are very skilled, and it's a really cool place to be, and just watching every day. I mean, I can't even keep up, honestly. I try to watch it at work, but there's just way too much going on.
Yeah.
It-
Yeah. If
yeah.
there's like hundreds of people, must be definitely very you know, buzzing.
There's so much information. I can't even get out of the Slack. I can't. I try. I can't even. I don't have time for Bitcoin talk anymore.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you like Bitcoin talk, but I'm hoping that one day it goes down. It never comes back up again.
Yeah. I don't go so much to Bitcoin talk anymore. Mostly on Reddit. I mean, Reddit is not necessarily better, but it's just easier to, faster to parse. Just one page to look at, and then off you go. Whereas Bitcoin talk is a lot of different things, and it's not always the highest quality. So
Well, the thing I like about Slack is that there's an area in here where you could put keywords.
Mhm.
So if I have, for example, the word new. So if someone says, "Oh, this is new," I'll get alerted. I'll get an email, and I
Yeah.
and I'll know it's new. You know. So
Yeah, it's a good way to know what's new. Yeah.
if somebody says my name, Lutz, that I'll know right away. You know, I'll get an email and I'll know who's saying what and when.
Yeah. Yeah, Slack is great. Yeah, it's a great tool.
It's like IRC back in the day, but it's like more advanced now.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. So, and any other innovations you want to share with
Uh,
us?
um. I mean, no. I mean, like one thing I wanted to mention also is that Chain. I don't know if you know Chain. It's a company. They do APIs for Bitcoin.
Okay. Yeah, I heard about it. Bass Guitar Man was talking about it.
Yeah. So they're basically also working with open assets at the moment. They are working with Gift. They made a they made an announcement recently at a conference that was actually in Ireland.
Uh huh.
It was called MoneyConf. So they made a demo of a wallet, a mobile wallet, I think running on iPhone, where you could pay in store with gift cards, and all of that was running on top of the blockchain using open assets.
Oh,
So
I think I saw something with CoinPrism having an app, right?
yeah, CoinPrism also has an app, but this one was different. It was like a gift specific app, so it was specific for gift cards. But yeah, CoinPrism also has a mobile app, which actually is Android, and it's Android only at the moment.
So how do these APIs work on chain?
So Chain, I'm not sure about the details about Chain. I don't know if those APIs are public yet. I mean, I know that they've been working with a gift,
Like
more or less privately.
what kind of
Uh,
functions can I call using it?
I don't know about Chain what they plan to do, but I can tell you on CoinPrism what functions we have. We also have an API on CoinPrism,
Okay.
and so yeah, the functions are like you can query a specific transaction. So it's going to tell you like what happened in that transaction, but it will tell you also the assets that were transacted. So if
Okay.
someone transferred a gift card, then you will see that in the transaction.
I see.
So and also you can query addresses. Same story. You can see the balance of an address in terms of assets. So if there's some stocks, of a company in an address, you will see that and so on. You can query information about assets. So you can see, for example, the definition of an asset. So what is the name of the asset? What is the description and so on? What is the icon? Um, you can also see which addresses are the owners of a specific asset.
So it's like
So
it's like a really advanced explorer.
yeah, it's an API. You could actually use that API to build an explorer. And actually, the CoinPrism, we have an explorer, which is coinprism.info, and it's also built on top of that API. So it's definitely same thing as an explorer,
Cool.
quite programmatic.
Oh yeah. We have an API channel here in Slack that people love to play with.
Oh yeah.
They
Well,
they would jump right in.
yeah, it's coinprism.info if they want to have a look, and the link to the API documentation is at the bottom of the page.
Cool. I know you guys have an official blog. What's the blog address?
The blog is blog.coinprism.com,
Cool.
and yeah, so I think upcoming is a post about Overstock, because Overstock, they are actually also working with open assets now.
Right.
So Patrick Byrne has been looking at securities on the blockchain for a long time, and so as I guess as a pilot, they created a corporate bond for Overstock, and they actually made a transaction of I think there was only one buyer still. That was Patrick Byrne was the buyer, but you can see the transaction on the blockchain, so you can see Patrick Byrne purchasing the bond on the blockchain using open assets.
Yeah, I know that guy. He's really big into it. I mean, as soon as I heard Overstock was accepting Bitcoin, I went to look for solar panels.
Yeah, they're definitely yeah, studying blockchains very hard. So
There's a lot of companies. IBM is looking into it now.
yes, they are. Yeah,
You know, my company, I cannot say the name, probably get fired tomorrow, but they're looking into it also.
yeah.
I work for a Fortune 20 company here in New York City.
Uh-huh.
Um, there was another one. I want to say Dell, maybe.
Yeah, Dell definitely
Hmm.
accepts. I mean, they accept Bitcoin. I don't know if they're looking at blockchain technology. But yeah, I know there's a number of banks and financial institutions looking at blockchain technology and trying to see. They just want to be not to be caught. Like with the innovation happening and them left behind. So
Right,
they're
because technology is big. In my company, uh, the the best company out of our competition is the one with the best tech.
oh yeah.
So, so the ones who are ahead of the tech are the ones that are doing the best. And I would love to say it, but I can't. Uh, and that's the real world, and I'm sure it works the same with other types of companies. Uh, I have a theory. All right.
Mhm.
Say you have thousands of customers, right? Thousands. I'm saying 200,000 customers,
Yeah.
and each one of them, all their transactions, each transaction. Okay, every customer has an account, right? Normally, okay. Every customer's account was a wallet, and every transaction they did with every business move, uh, whatever they bought that day, days past, uh, was a transaction. So everything you see where I'm getting with this. So everything they buy that day would be a transaction on the blockchain, and in conclusion, you would have a nice ledger, that's untouched, of every transaction this account has made.
Yeah.
Which would put databases uh, obsolete, and now they would rely on blockchains as long as there's one up somewhere, right? Within the whole
Mhm.
companies, because my company is all over the world. So as long as there's one up somewhere, they would never lose the information,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Blockchains are great for redundancy and I mean,
I mean,
yeah, it's
as long as they keep it internal, which I think, what company is doing that now? WoW, World of Warcraft. You ever heard of a video game?
yeah. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
actually using like an internal blockchain to distribute tokens within the game, so that people could use the tokens to buy gold, which is the monetary system within the game.
Yeah, they have definitely an economy there, and but yeah, there's some regulations also. It cannot be transferred. I mean, you cannot really usually sell it for money, but yeah, otherwise it behaves like a cryptocurrency in a
Right,
way.
so it's like it's internal. That's why I say it's internal. They're not letting
Yeah,
anybody
yeah,
have access to it.
yeah, exactly.
There's a real world case right there. Yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a cutting edge bleeding technology. I mean, I personally work with a lot of techs, and it boggles my mind how they're not interested in this. I mean, I talk to them and they're just oblivious, and the only thing they could do is repeat what they hear on the news. Oh, I don't participate in corrupt things, you know, or they always go back to the whole, what was that website that was selling drugs?
so Silk
Yeah,
Road.
they always go back to that. It's like the only thing. It's like what they're like monkeys. What they hear, they just hear something from the news and they just repeat it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's
do you get that a lot? It boggles my. I
yeah,
mean, if you're so interested in tech, wouldn't you be looking into it? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I mean, I mean, it's still progress, I think, because like 2 years ago, those people wouldn't have heard of Bitcoin at all or cryptocurrency at all.
Right.
So now they've heard of it, but they don't necessarily heard the right thing. So it's gonna take time for like the mentality of the public opinion to evolve towards something that's more realistic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but it's gonna take some time, yeah. But
I, th-
I'm sure it will
I
happen.
think I think it's the fear, the fear mongering on the TV.
Oh yeah,
Keep
absolutely.
it
Yeah,
keeps them away from even looking into it. Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
But eventually they'll have to get over that. You know, once they see other people using it in the real world, like these big companies, other companies are going to just follow suit, and everybody's
Yeah.
going to have to get used to using it.
Yeah, and the fact that now like there's like even the banks traditionally they've been very cautious about cryptocurrencies, but now they're starting to look into it. So I think the change is kind of happening now.
Right.
In the next few years, I'm sure it's gonna, if the banks are now looking into it, then definitely it's gonna legitimize it in some degree with the rest of the public.
So
So we'll see.
over here in New York, they're really bending us over about these Bitcoin regulations.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
You know,
that's definitely something. Yeah.
if you're doing business with Bitcoin, you have to fill out an application now,
Yeah.
and you have to file taxes. Uh, I would not.
Hmm.
I personally don't follow rules, so I, I, I
Yeah.
believe what I believe is I wasn't around when they were created, so no one consulted with me, so
Yeah.
I don't have to follow them.
Yeah. And yeah, I know that some companies are kind of leaving or not leaving, but like Eric Voorhees, his company Shapeshift,
Right. And
they s- they are now blocking the users from the New York State.
yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. Even my tax guy, you know, I asked him about the Bitcoin. He's like, "Oh, you have to tell me." I was like, "I'm not telling you anything." as far as you know, I lost my wallet.
Yeah.
It's a you could put in a loss if you want and get
Yeah.
me some more money. No, but other than that, there's no way I'm going to reveal that I have any. I mean, as long as I
Yeah.
keep them on paper wallets, which I do, unless I plan on making a transaction, and the only money I actually trade with is like maybe one or two bitcoins. The rest of them I keep
Oh
in
yeah.
paper wallets.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
yeah, definitely. I mean, as long as you don't touch them, it's definitely sitting on the blockchain. It's hard for anybody to know who they belong to.
if they
So
can make a waterproof tracer for me to put it on, that would be awesome because then I could bury it in the backyard with the silver,
it's the silver. Yeah.
with the map.
Yeah.
All right, Charlene. Flavion, if you go bar hopping and I come to Ireland, I would be proud to be your wingman.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right, I know how to work it.
Yeah. Cool.
You know, you go. We attack two. There's two of them, right? Right, and
Yeah.
you go to one, right, and you start talking. You start talking to both of them, and then I get the attention of the other one, and then
Yeah.
our goal is to pull them away from each other.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's like game theory.
Yes,
Yeah.
I know how it works.
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, let me know if you come to Ireland, definitely.
Yeah, I think my girlfriend, she might have to. She might send me there soon. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Cool.
it would be pretty awesome. What kind of good food you got down there?
Well, we got. I mean, the food from Ireland is mostly peasant food. I mean, the traditional food is like stews and I don't know. Yeah, like old, peasant thing. But otherwise, it's like kind of like British food a little bit. Um,
Gotcha. I'm Sicilian. So I know peasant food.
oh yeah. Yeah, I love Italian food. Yeah, I would say I like it better than the peasant Irish food for sure.
My mom makes all these dishes with like egg in it, and it looks like slop. And she goes, "This is peasant food. This is what we used to eat." And I
Yeah.
look at it, I go, "Okay," and I just eat it.
Yeah.
But before I was a tech though. I was also a baker. So maybe we could open up a bakery in Ireland
Oh yeah,
called
that would be a great success, I think, in Ireland.
New
There's
York
not a
Bakery
lot.
accepts only Bitcoin.
Yeah.
All right, Flavio, we've been on for about an hour. I usually don't run over an hour. I would love to invite you to Slack. You could
Sure.
join all the crypto heads in here coding things, and you did a great job, man. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate you.
Yeah, and thanks for having me. It
All right.
was great to discuss.
No, I hope you come back and give us some updates.
Yeah, sure.
I'm gonna download the wallet now. I'm gonna look more into CoinPrism. I've been up over 24 hours studying CoinPrism.
Yeah,
That's how I know a little
it's
bit.
yeah.
But yeah, I was really interested. I really happy because Bitcoin is really important. It is the one that will pave the road. You know,
Yeah.
do you believe that one day it'll be like dominated by government and another one will take over? Do you believe that theory?
That Bitcoin will be dominated by
Yeah,
government?
and then everybody will shift over to another one.
Yeah, I mean, there is. I mean, if let's say the government takes over Bitcoin, then it's possible that the economic majority, which might not be the majority in terms of hashing power, uh, they switch to they fork basically Bitcoin, keeping the same ledger, but you know the different history from that point on.
Right, because they would have full
Uh,
consensus, and they
yeah,
could afford to do that.
yeah. So Bitcoin is whatever people want it to be. So that's what's great about it.
Cool, man. All right, bro.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go relax now and pass out. I had a lot
yeah.
of coffee this
Cool.
morning.
Yeah. Cool.
All right, thank you for coming on, and I'm gonna send you an invite to Slack through the email, and come on and
Yeah.
talk to us, man. I'd love to talk to you more and pick your brain.
Sure. Sounds good. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for your time, and I'll be happy to come back with some updates.
Awesome. James is also in here. You could talk to him directly. He's a genius. I mean, if anyone's an idol in here to me, it's definitely James. I mean, he's
Cool.
taught me a lot. All
Cool.
right, bro. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining
You
us.
too. Cheers. Bye.